Hello, my name's Elena. I'm the fiancé of Joshua Lee McCollister, who was murdered on July 8th by Deunn Willis and robbed by Danielle Durand. I was thinking about that conversation that Josh and the instigator had on January 25th, a few hours before he broke Josh's ribs. They were sitting in the instigator's van out on Pomo Bluffs, and they were in the back, the light was on. They were having a man-to-man, and the instigator was not aware that that Josh was broadcasting this to me on Skype. I didn't know Josh was going to do this. I saw the Skype thing pop up, and I tried to say hello, and very clearly the audio was off on his end. He had proposed to me just a couple days before. He'd confessed he loved me. I told him I loved him. He proposed. And a few days later, he had this was his man-to-man with the instigator telling him, you have to back off. You have to leave her alone. She has been trying to get away from you for years. You've been blackmailing her. You have to stop. You have to let her go. And the thing that I really remember when he said, his tone was very firm when he said this. He said to the instigator, "Don't fuck this up." And what he meant was effectively, we were all friends at one point. We were family, you know? And Josh was a really forgiving person, and he was really hopeful that the instigator was going to straighten up his act, get clean, and, you know, just go back to being the good person that Josh had considered his best friend. He'd loved him so much. This was his mentor. But moving forward, Josh was not going to let him hurt me or blackmail me, coerce me. That was just going to stop. And he was effectively telling the instigator, don't fuck this up, because maybe in the long run, we can all find a way to be friends again. That's what Josh wanted. Now, Josh had known some really dangerous, violent people in his life. I mean, he's a human trafficking survivor. I mean, he'd seen it all. And the instigator had a very calm tone of voice for this conversation. He told Josh, yeah, that's fine. I'll back off. I'll leave her alone. But I could see from Josh's face, his eyes, he was not buying this at all. And he later told me that he had seen that same expression in the eyes of people before they try to kill someone. And after the instigator left, this is why Josh packed up his gear so fast that he forgot the death shawl that Colleen died in. You know, that thing that was his second most precious possession, in which she breathed her last breath, as he always phrased it. That's why he forgot it, is because he was rushing out of there to get to me, because I told him I don't have the money to go to a motel. Project Sanctuary is closed. And I'm scared. I'm scared he's going to hurt me. I'm scared tonight's the night he's going to make good on all the violence that has been threatened. Tonight's the night, basically. Josh packed up his gear. He got to the house as fast as he could. He knew that he knew he was risking his own safety by doing this. It wasn't just that I was physically afraid that night. I was very emotionally afraid because, see, this conversation that Josh had had with the instigator, I'd known the instigator trash talked me for years. I could see the effects of it in the relationships around me, that he would tell people really horrible, untrue things about me. But this is the first time I ever actually got to watch it. And the amount of lying he was doing, saying all these bad things about me to Josh, to make Josh basically want to run screaming rather than be in a relationship with me, it was really scary, because Josh was the second man I'd ever loved, and I'd only got to have him for like a couple of days, like 3 or 4 days. And I was sure that after everything he'd just been told, there's just no way. He was going to come to the house to protect me, but he was also going to break up with me. So Josh got to the house, and he got to work setting up a camera in case the instigator came over and got violent. And we sat on the stairs, and he had that look in his face like, yeah, this guy's about to break up with you. And I was crushed. I was so crushed. Because it wasn't easy for me to say, I'm in love with you. Yes, I'll accept your ring. You know, that was not easy for me. And here it was, and the instigator had just wrecked it. And I knew it. So I told Josh as calmly as I could, I still want to be your friend. Like, you don't have to marry me. You don't have to be in a relationship with me. You're not obligated. I'm not going to make you do anything. You know, just let me down easy, basically. Josh knew the instigator was lying, though. Thank God. You know. And it made me think about everything the instigator had said about him over the course of the last year. You know, Josh hadn't even been living in the house with me for 24 hours before, and I was brushing my hair. The instigator came up and effectively made me promise that in the event that I was single, that in the event that he died, that I would never get with Josh McCollister. This was ridiculous. Josh, you know, I met this guy the day before. Why was he making me promise this? And it was weird also because he told me 14 years ago, in the event I'm ever single, this is the guy that I'm supposed to marry. And this is going to be my second husband, and I'm going to love him forever, blah, blah, blah. We're meant to be together. This is what this guy used to tell me about Josh. And now he's telling me that Josh is so in love with me, has been for 14 years. He's smitten with me. He would murder the instigator if he thought that he'd be able to have me. It was bizarre. It's so weird. And I just, okay, well, if he's that dangerous, what's he doing here in the first place? Like, if he's that much of a crazy, creepy stalker, why was he brought up here in the first place? That doesn't sound like someone who wants to protect me. And, you know, over the course of that year, when Josh and I were friends, the instigator would talk about Josh behind his back, just say the worst things, like that Josh was peeping at me through my bathroom window, that he had set up cameras to monitor me, that he installed spyware on my phone, all this nasty stuff, that he was going to stalk me if I tried to make him go, that he was going to rape me. This was really horrible stuff that he was saying, and it would make me shut down a little. It would make me panic. Like, sometimes it would really, really make me panic because I had PTSD. I had terrible things happen to me when I was young, and the instigator knew that stuff, and he was like poking me in the trauma, basically saying this person that I thought of as like my best friend was going to do all these horrible things to me, that like he was going to get me if I went out to the garbage cans, or, you know, when I was doing laundry, that he was going to attack me then, you know, it's hard when you have someone living with you. You think that they're safe, and yet someone is telling you that they're going to do the worst things to you as a woman that they can. And then, like, Josh would come in the room, and I just feel safer. Like, I felt so at ease around this person. And, you know, when I look in his eye, I just know this was all crap. Just all crap. That he never would have hurt me. He never would have stalked me or any of that stuff. This guy was just... He was putting poison in my ear. He was taking my past rapes and sticking a pin in and seeing how he could upset me. And how he could also make sure that he kept me isolated. Like, it's easier to control a person, to coerce someone, if they don't have friends. Me having a best friend who was a bodyguard, that was a big roadblock to the instigator getting that prize in the end that he wanted. You know, I think back so much to, like, how quickly would Josh and I have fallen in love, like, declared our feelings, if we hadn't had this person trash-talking both of us behind our backs. Because he was definitely saying nasty stuff about me to Josh even before that. I hadn't seen it, but Josh told me about it, and it was just so horrible, the things he was saying. Just really vile stuff, and I guess this isn't too surprising, but creepy sexual stuff. It was humiliating, embarrassing, and like, you know, somebody asked if I think that the instigator and the enabler had anything to do with Josh's murder, meaning, you know, that they have anything to do with Deunn Willis and Danielle Durand, and no, they definitely didn't. Josh saw an ad for a free puppy on NextDoor, and he contacted them. It wasn't the other way around. But the instigator lied so much about Josh, and so much about me. You know, that Josh was going to murder him, going around town saying, I'm going to murder this guy, and I'm going to murder his little boy, and I'm going to, you know, hold that woman captive and rape her and blah, blah, all this crap. So Josh just got attacked again and again and again and again. And one of the things about Josh getting attacked so many times is the instigator and the enabler use this to discredit him. Like, well, most people don't get attacked that much. He must be starting these fights. It's his fault. And no, you know, this was, I really wish the term flying monkeys was better known in narcissistic abuse. This is where one person starts all these bad rumors about you, and so other people decide they're being helpful by hurting you. That's what Josh and I were up against. They put him on the road to his death. They made it so unsafe in Fort Bragg for him and for me that we both fled, you know? And he wound up on the streets in Humboldt County, which are violent. And he ran into murderers, which wouldn't have happened if these people hadn't done this to him in Mendocino County. But, you know, one thing that happened after Josh died that plays again and again in my mind is the instigator telling me that he psychically predicted that Josh was going to be dead by July 10th. And I truly believe that there was some kind of hit that they'd planned for Josh up in Humboldt County that just didn't come to fruition by their sheer stroke of luck. Because, you know, that when Josh was stabbed in the face, that was a hit. I will never believe it was anything less than hit. When he was dosed with fentanyl, when that man never took fentanyl a day in his fucking life, that was a hit. They weren't going to back off. They just weren't. Because they think that the serial killer thing, the thing with my dad, is going to somehow get them rich in the end. That they're going to steal his stuff and sell it, or force me to give a story before the cameras, and then they'll steal the money. Some stupid thing like that. What was happening to Josh McCollister in Fort Bragg absolutely was a hit, because these bastards think they're going to get rich off it. I haven't gotten $1 for my story. Not $1. But if I did, I would set it all on fire before these bastards get frickin' sent. Because, yeah, they killed my fiancé. They didn't pull the trigger, but they definitely killed him. And I am not the only one who feels that way. You ask Josh's parents, do they feel like the stalkers killed their son? You ask them. And I'm only comforted by the fact that I know that while there may not be accountability legally in this life, may not be, there will be accountability when they get to the other side. My face sustaining me there. There will be accountability at some point, because they killed a good person.